Tomorrow is World Down Syndrome Day. Since the 1980s, there's been a dramatic change in life expectancy for those living with a learning disability. Back then, someone could expect to live until the age of 25. Today, that age has more than doubled in most cases. Approximately 1 in 1,000 babies are born with the lifelong condition every year in the UK. To raise further awareness, an emotional video has been produced with the aim of alleviating the fears of expectant mums.
Cara futura mamma.
Don't be afraid.
Tu niño podrá hacer muchas cosas.
Podrá abbracciarti.
Podrá correr hacia ti.
Il pourra parler et te dire qu'il t'aime. Vera mamma. Vera mamma.
Well, earlier I was joined by the broadcaster Annie Maguire, who's expecting a baby with Down syndrome, 14-year-old Amy Clark and her mum Kirsty. Annie, it's such a moving video. Must have struck a chord with you.
Oh, it's music to my ears, that video, and the situation that I'm in of knowing that I'm going to be that future mom, or future ma, I suppose it should be in Scotland. So yeah, it's incredibly moving. I had a good cry the first few times I see it, but it's a wonderful piece of work.
I think we all had a good cry. What was it like when you found out that your baby has Down syndrome? And what was it like telling people, your family and your friends?
Finding out is difficult, and I think, as you can tell, I am fine with the diagnosis of my baby having Down syndrome. Even with that, it's like the world stops when you get that news, because it's not what you imagined your pregnancy was going to be like. So finding out is difficult for anybody, and people need support at that stage, and that's why this video is brilliant. Telling people as well is very difficult, because you're still happy, you're having a baby, but you feel like you're telling people bad news, and it's not bad news. You're having a baby, and yet you don't know how people are going to react. And I have to say, people have been wonderful. I think people reflect your attitude to how you are with the news. So the fact that we've been very positive about this diagnosis, people have been brilliant to us in response.
Kirsty, I can see you shaking your head in agreement there. Can you relate to what Annie's saying there?
Absolutely, absolutely. When we found out that Amy might have had Down syndrome, huge numbers of emotions, huge numbers, some positive, some negative. But you're right, you just have to take a big deep breath and say, okay, this wasn't the plan, but there's a different plan, and it's not a bad one, and looking at her now, it's just been fantastic for us. It's no regrets, none at all.
Amy, sounds like you've got a really interesting life. Tell me what you like doing. Swimming and gymnastics, your mum was saying?
Yeah.
What kind of things have you been doing with your gymnastics?
Especially pigs and competitions and displays at the Belleriston.
And the medal was from the Special Olympics?
Yeah.
And how did you feel when you won that?
Quite nervous. I excited.
And very proud as well, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And your mum proud as well. And you're into swimming as well?
Yeah.
We heard one of the children in the video there saying that life could be difficult at times. All parenting is difficult. Are there particular challenges you face, and if so, what are they?
We've faced a few challenges. There's a lot of support out there for children with Down syndrome, if you know where to find it. And we have got a great organisation, Down Syndrome Scotland, who have been involved in pointing us in the right direction, and they have helped us with finding out about and getting the support that we need for Amy. decisions about education have been a challenge. Knowing whether it was the right thing to do, sending her to mainstream primary, that was helped along by Down Syndrome Scotland, and I have no doubts that it was the right thing to do. She was very happy there, and then the help that we got when she went to secondary school, and we chose the special needs school for secondary, and again, it's been great. But yeah, there are challenges. She needs support with her speech and language, and it's always a bit of a fight to get what you want, but as parents, that's what we do. We fight for it.
Absolutely. And Annie, how are you preparing for the new arrival?
Oh, I'm preparing kind of in the same way as I did with my eldest daughter, and kind of preparing for the unknown to an extent. I think part of the blessing of having something like this in your life is your expectations sort of shift, and you live day by day a bit more. You don't know exactly what your child is going to be able to do. You don't know what problems they're going to have. So I think you kind of stop thinking, oh, I want my child to be a doctor or a lawyer, and you start thinking, if she goes to the same school as her big sister, there will be no prouder parent at the school gates that day than when I see her do that. And so I think it kind of lifts that kind of competitive mother thing out of you, and you kind of go, I just want her to do whatever it's possible for her to do.
All expectant parents, mothers, are offered a test to assess the chances of having Down syndrome, and the figure is that 90% of those who find out that that's the case terminate the pregnancy. It's not everyone that feels they can take on the challenge.
No, it's not. And I think a lot of that's down to ignorance of what's facing them, what's ahead. If we could just let them see how fantastic our children are, how they just fill our lives with joy, and yes, there are challenges, but I wouldn't have Amy any other way, and I'd love for people to be able to see that and make an informed decision. I wouldn't judge anybody for not going through with it, but I do think that they just don't realise how fantastic.
Yeah, that's something I found when I received the diagnosis, and you're receiving it from medical people, and for them, Down syndrome isn't something they can prevent, and it's not something they can cure, so I think the medical community feels a bit helpless with it. But we were lucky in that we knew someone with Down syndrome, and so when they were telling us, this is terrible news, and doing their sad faces, we were going, it's not that bad. We know what life is like for these people. We know there's challenges, but it's not what you're making it out to be. And I think videos like this, hopefully, for other mothers when they find themselves in that room faced with a diagnosis, will at least have some notion that life can be very good with a child with Down syndrome.
And is it good to hear from Kirsty today?
It's wonderful, and it's wonderful to meet Amy and just to see another girl with Down syndrome. It just makes you excited for July and this baby actually turning up and having a baby rather than just a diagnosis. That's what I think is hard, is when you don't have that baby to love yet. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
What's the reaction when you meet people who aren't used to dealing with people with Down syndrome day in, day out?
I think everybody loves Amy. As soon as they see Amy, everybody loves her. You get the odd person who's maybe a bit kind of embarrassed almost and doesn't quite know how to talk to her, but she is very good at putting people at their ease, and they warm to her.
And what advice have you got for Annie?
Oh, just enjoy your baby, and you're absolutely right. Don't look too far into the future, and the milestones that they reach are so much more just joyful. Just enjoy each stage.
And tomorrow is World Down Syndrome Day. What are you going to be doing to mark it? Is it something to do with socks?
Yeah.
What, have you got to wear wacky socks, or what is it? Because I'll have to get mine ready.
You have to wear your favourite sock, what you wear. And it doesn't matter you wear school socks, but you could wear your favourite sock as first possible we leave school tomorrow.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you all very much indeed for joining us, and good luck with the new arrival, Annie.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.